I'm back. I have returned. And this is Portugal, the trip we made the year 2015. And this is the 142nd day of the fourth year of Frank's school. If you would look at this video, which 2 videos ago, that was where I said, here's what we hope to do in the trip. I just watched it myself. And we mostly did it. Here's what we did not do. At the end of the trip, we had already seen so much, and actually, I should have added. I don't want to go into very much detail, but I had found out that there was a place called Tomar that that was worth visiting. And so on the way back, instead of doing the Sintra Mountain, the Cabo da Roca, we went to Tomar. And it's going to take me, I'll tell you now, probably 2 months of videos. I'll be into the summer, well into the summer, before I have shared with you things that I think are worth sharing. But I'll number it in such a way that I'll have the school year end by uh, by that number. I'll squeeze them together somehow. I'll make it within the school year. So anyway, Tomar we did instead of this. Piodão, we were just too exhausted to do that. We were every day. We were going all the way back to Coimbra, and the driving in the mountains was hard. It was hard. And I'll say more about that later on. Piodão, I don't feel so bad about that because it's been thoroughly filmed. It's very famous. I would have liked to have seen it, but it's also rather bigger than what we saw. Cabo da Roca, well, that would have been part of the Sintra Mountain. Maybe I'll see it sometime. It would have been nice. Sorry. And then the estufas in the greenhouses, the hot and the cold greenhouses in Lisbon. Now, I was going to do that on Sunday, the last day I was there. I came up with something much better to do, because I finally found, after 45 years, I finally found a collection of rural artifacts involved with vida rural, rural life. I found it in the Museum of Ethnology, and it was almost a miracle that I found it, because I had suspected maybe in the archaeological museum they might be there. They have been lost to me for 45 years, but I found them, and I found them big time. I photographed them all, and I will probably be putting them all into my class. So that was wonderful. And I also met people there that I suspect I will continue to communicate with. But I don't have time to tell you that now. These are the things that we did not do, if you would look at that. The flea market, here's a correction. The flea market in Lisbon, I had said the Hawklings might go there on Sunday. Well, they did find a market. They did find a market. It was Sunday. But the famous one, I think it's called Feira Gelada. I think that's the right word. It's on Saturday, and it's really big and it's really famous. So we did not do that. Now, it was a good trip. It was a good trip. It was huge. And there's so much that I can't even think about it all. But I filmed it. I filmed it, and Shirley filmed it, and Thomas filmed it. So we have this vast body of things to share. But it was stressful. At times it was very stressful. The driving was very hard. I would say had planned as thoroughly as I could, given my situation, that so much was new. But discovering this new museum and then how to get there, that was hard. So there were times that it was very stressful. I had said that the Hawklings, I so much hoped they had a good time. I think they did. You know, time will tell. But my feeling right now is that even though it was stressful, we were rear-ended by another car. In this rented car, we were stopped and rear-ended. So we were involved in an accident. Had to go to the police station. That even was you know, that was, nobody was hurt and there wasn't very much damage done. But so, in spite of the fact that it was at times very stressful, I think it was a good trip. We'll have to see. And then finally, you know, there are so many foibles about me that people just have to kind of put up with, and they did that so often. Uh, and the language. Now, I did okay. I did okay. Shifting gears was a problem for me, and going back and forth all the time, and at times, well, the way to explain it, I think, is in my mind, if I wasn't speaking English, I thought I must be speaking the right language. But there were times where I'd be speaking straight to the German couple, the Hocklings, and they'd look at me and say, "Don't speak Portuguese to us." And I would have been speaking Portuguese for a while to the German couple. I didn't know what language I was in. Uh, and also, typically, when I would go as a tourist, had to go ask directions, which I did very often and almost always successfully, I'd start asking it in German, you know, which wasn't so bad because I was so clearly a tourist anyway. So, okay, I was a German tourist. English would have been much better because in Portugal, many people do speak English. That is true. English is the second language in Portugal, and around tourist areas, everybody speaks some English, and they learn it in school. So I would have done much better to simply ask in English instead of German, because not very many speak German. But my mind was so confused there, and best of all would have been just ask them in Portuguese. But like I said, I would start up and I wouldn't realize I wouldn't realize that this isn't Portuguese, this is German I'm speaking. So there was a lot of that, but we dealt with it. Now, over the next, 40 days, some 38 days, I will be going through this trip in detail. Details of D.O., details of Coimbriga, the Roman museums. And it will take time, but but if you feel like coming along with me, you will see a lot of Portugal, and you will see things that you would not see otherwise, unless you went yourself and had the same interest, because these videos are details, and I hope you go with me on this trip, and it will be extensive. But in any case, I'm back. Probably the worst part of the trip was after I had arrived in Newark, and I had to drive home. It was raining. Eventually, it got dark, and I had to drive 5 hours. That was after a 7-hour flight. With it was hard to see. That was the worst part. I mean, at times I thought I simply have to stop, get a hotel or something. I can't keep doing this. I don't think a person should travel alone. I really don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't alone. I was with the Hawkins. But getting to the airport and getting from the airport, I don't think it's a good idea. Having that other person would really help, and I would do that gladly, I think, in the future, if I had another person who would travel with me. But in any case, I'm back, and